Okay. Let's have story time for a quick second. This past week, I went to go show a house literally out in the middle of nowhere. And when I say in the middle of nowhere, absolutely no service, like for miles. So even in the descriptions, it said make sure you update your app for the lockbox before you get out there. So obviously I did, put on navigation, sent my husband the address of where I was going to, and it was probably a good 40 minutes out. So put on a audiobook, which I think I was listening, The Perfect Marriage. Almost done with that, but hold on. Don't they know I'm trying to tell a story? But yeah, so I was listening to an audiobook, sent my husband the location I was going to be at, updated my app, did all the things. It was for a client that I had never met before, so I was already like, ooh, I don't know. Had my pepper spray, but at the same time, I'm like, I should probably get my concealed carry. I digress. But heading out there, and it had poured rain the whole night before, and in that morning as well. So it was just fog, like 2-lane road, back road, no service, fog everywhere, can't see anything. Whenever it's not foggy and it's like a beautiful sunny day, it's like just gorgeous mountain views, fields, all the things. But finally get there. The potential client didn't have time to sign whatever, so luckily I had actually brought a paper copy of the non-exclusive representation buyer agreement, and had her sign there, and then went to go undo the lockbox, got the lockbox undone, but then of course the front door isn't working. So I'm like, okay, cool. Go around the side, get that all to work, and then walk in, and honestly the house really wasn't bad. The location was really good. There was some water in the basement, but it looked like a drainage issue from like the window wells, which, I mean, this part of the story doesn't necessarily matter, but was there for about like an hour. Very nice lady. But then she's like, okay, well, I would like my husband to come see it, and I've kind of got to be honest with you, like, I was working with so-and-so from your brokerage, actually. And I was like, oh, really, who? And found out who. Fantastic lady. Like, I love that agent. Very good friend of mine. So had a laugh about that. It was fine. So go to leave, right? I can't pull up navigation because there's no service. And I knew whenever I was going into the driveway, I took a left. So I was like, okay, so I need to take a right. So I take a right. And then I knew at that next road, I took a left. Problem is whenever I get into these situations, it's usually sunny or at least like not super foggy, so I can kind of see some like landmarks all around. Couldn't see any landmarks, so acorn. So then I get to the end of that road, and I really couldn't remember which way it was. Was it left or right? And I was like, well, I have a 50-50 shot. I went right. I kept going and going and going. And finally I was like, I don't remember seeing any of this. Not a lick. Not one iota. So I finally was like, all right, I'm gonna have to find a spot to pull over, which easier said than done because on the 2-lane back roads, most of where you can pull over is someone's driveway, which in that area, people are gonna be like, why are you pulling in my driveway? Get out of here. So found a spot, was trying to like just pull over and get my bearings for a second, and I get like a nice little like polite honk behind me, and then a white sedan like pulls up next to me, and I'm like, don't act scared because you don't know who these people are. And it was a nice older gentleman, and he like went to go take a right, but then he backed up and he rolled down his window, and I'm fumbling to get the window down and all that, and he's like, honey, you okay? And I was like, no, I'm not. I have no service. He's like, yeah, you're not going to out here. And I was like, yeah, I know. He's like, where are you trying to go? I was like, I'm just trying to get back to 81. And he's like, Roanoke? And I was like, yeah, Roanoke. He's like, you take a left, you go all the way to the end of that street and take a right. And I was like, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And then we had a nice little conversation about the house I was showing, and there was another house that had sold recently for like 1.2. And then I was talking to him about how I guess someone years ago had come up and basically was like, I'll offer you 1.5 because he has over 50 acres in this area. And he's been here for, I think he said like 25 years, something like that. And I was like, you're sitting on a gold mine. Don't ever sell. Like, just don't. And he was like, well, actually, I'm trying to get to Tennessee, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, do you already have an agent? Like, I know a fantastic one out there. I can get you her contact info. And he's like, no, I actually don't. And I was like, okay, well, here's my card. Like, if you want her contact info, let me know. Just text me. I'd be more than happy to give it to you. And he's like, all right, thank you so much. And I was like, no, thank you, because you're helping me out by getting me back to civilization. But moral of this very long story is share your location. Being a real estate agent is crazy because you're taught to not go in random houses, and if you feel spooky vibes, to like listen to your instincts, and we have to ignore our instincts sometimes. Because that's part of our job. But another moral of the story is, even though that client didn't necessarily work out and they were working with someone else, I was able to meet a really nice gentleman in that area that, who knows, maybe potentially could be a lead one day. But it just goes to show that there's still some really nice people out there, and I just appreciated that he was willing to help me. And I don't know, it was just, I could have looked at it as, oh, dang it, like, why would they reach out to me if they already had an agent? But it worked out because I was able to connect them back with my friend who's the agent and meet someone really nice. So, I don't know. There's good people out there. You just don't always find them. But now I need to see his house that has 50 plus acres because I'm sure the views are incredible. But yeah, have a great day. Be a good person.